What's up, guys? This is Mr. McAnany here, and yes, I'm using this cool, fancy YouTube video thing. If you guys had me for freshman English class, you'll remember these amazing, very well done videos of me appearing in the bottom of your screen of the PowerPoint presentation talking. Only this time we are going to add an ed puzzle element to it, so make sure you're paying attention for lots of amazing questions. For example, we are going to ask a really random question right now in the video. And once you have answered it successfully, which you just have, now we can move on. So, what do I get to talk about? I get to talk about the golden calf incident on Monday in class. Friday and Monday. Okay, you guys talked with Mr. Grillo about the Ten Commandments, and the Ten Commandments are wonderful. We received them at Mount Sinai. I think they provide, as we talked about, a great framework for us to be exactly who we're meant to be, and that is be in loving relationship not only with God, but with other people. So, first 3 commandments, loving relationship with God, and then the second 7, a loving relationship with other people. Okay, and we kind of talked about how these laws, I think, make us more free because we are more free to be exactly who we're meant to be, right? Yeah. Okay, so as we could have maybe predicted, something good happens in the Bible, and then almost immediately afterwards, something bad happens. So as Moses is up there getting the 10 Commandments, he apparently takes too long, according to the Israelite people, and they start grumbling and rumbling and going, why is Moses up there? What are we going to do without him? He's not here. Our fearless leader is not here. So the Israelites approach Aaron, Moses' brother, and tell him that, kind of in a mode of panic, that they need to maybe revert back to some of their Egyptian practices. Okay, so the reason that the Israelites come to Aaron and ask him to make a golden calf is because they think Moses has been up on the mountain for too long and that maybe he's even dead. So there's your question right now over that. All right, so the Israelites come to Aaron. They say, hey, we're kind of in a panic. I know that our God, the only God, Yahweh, has just led us out of Egypt, but also we are kind of scared because Moses isn't here anymore and Moses is the leader, and what are we going to do without him? They panic. They ask Aaron to make a golden calf, right? And this is a direct kind of relapse into worshiping of pagan gods, one of the big 3 sins that we don't like. Okay, and they relapsed especially because this is like essentially the golden calf is what Pharaoh's son basically is. So they give all their gold to Aaron. Aaron melts all the gold and turns it into this golden calf. And as you can see in this beautiful picture above me, right, they start worshiping this golden calf. It's an idol, right? They start making sacrifices, and this isn't really all they do. They actually start doing another one of the other big sins, which is incest, right? And they have this giant big orgy, yeah, good stuff. Just classic Israelite stuff. So Moses comes down the mountain, and he's pretty fairly angry. He's pretty pissed off. He sees the Israelites doing this, and he smashes the 10 Commandments, right, on the ground. And even before he does this, right, God knows this is going to happen. He tells Moses that the Israelites are doing this as they speak, right, and that God wants to destroy Israel. And he's like, you know what, Moses, you're a good guy. You're awesome, but I am so fed up with your people, I'm going to destroy them. And this is where an interesting thing happens. Moses pleads with God. Moses says, okay, God, I understand you're angry, right? Yes, my people, they are participating in an orgy. Yes, my people are worshiping a golden calf. Yes, they are stiff-necked and stubborn and obstinate, but I think we can make it work if we work together. So this is an example of what we would call intercessory prayer. It seems foreign to us, right? Because it's like, how can we change God's mind? Like, we need to understand we cannot change God's mind. So true or false, we can change God's mind. False, okay? God, like, he knows what he wants to do before all time existed, right? So it's not like his actions are even chronological. They just they exist. So we can't really change God's mind. So what's the point of Moses arguing with God? Well, I think it's possibly a way, the Israelites' way, when they wrote this book, of understanding maybe how certain events happen, or maybe their way of understanding God's rationale, right? So Moses, in interceding to God, he kind of harkens back to God's covenant with Abraham. He says, God, remember you made the covenant, right? You said that you would be faithful to your covenant, and that, remember, you even walked through twice. You said, I know that you're going to break your covenant, right? So when you sacrifice that animal in half, remember, God walked through the sacrifice twice, because God knew that the Israelites were going to mess up. So God's like, you know what? I'll do it for you, right? God said he will never go back on his word. And so that's kind of what Moses is pointing to. It's like, remember, we made this covenant? And I don't think it's necessarily God changing his mind, but more just a model for what we should do, how we should pray, maybe, thinking about the blessings that we've received in our life. So I think Moses's intercessory prayer is a model for how we should maybe reflect upon the graces we have received in our life in praying to God. So before we ask God for something, maybe thank him, right, for what he's already done for us. Right? And think about where Moses is now compared to where he was at the beginning of the book. Remember, at the beginning of the book, this was not a guy who thought he could stand up to God. It was like he was trembling, he was afraid to do public speaking, and now he's speaking to God. It's like, holy cow, this guy has come a long, long way, for sure. So that's something to keep note of. Moses has come a long way since his first interactions with God. All right, so Moses gets down now to the bottom of the mountain, and he sees everyone doing their orgy stuff. Okay, and what is his reaction? What is Moses' reaction? You guys should know this from doing your reading, so I'm going to make you answer the question before I move on. Okay, so hopefully you got that question right. Moses, right, smashes the tablets. Okay, and then he goes back up and gets some more tablets later. Okay, but another interesting episode that happens here is that Moses, upon seeing this craziness happening, he basically says, he makes this big public announcement, you guys are crazy, you're worshiping pagans again. Whoever really believes in God, whoever is on God's side, rally around me right now. Like, you need to show yourself, right? Are you really on God's side? And, okay, all of the Levites, which, if we don't know who the Levites are the priestly class. They become the priestly class. Levi was one of Jacob's sons, all right? And basically, these people, this group of people, has distinguished themselves, right, as like, we are descendants of Levi. We're part of like this clan, right? And so when they rally to Moses, right, Moses is like, all right, you guys are on my side. Let's basically cleanse, purify our tribe right now by killing off all of the really, really unclean, impure people. Yes, killing off. Okay, so the Levites, along with Moses, they go around and they slaughter, they murder 3,000 other Israelites, which is a lot. I know, it's crazy. And this might seem kind of startling to us, like, why doesn't God have mercy on this? And I think, once again, this goes back to the historical critical method, right? I think that they believed that these people being unclean, impure, maybe the people who worship the golden calf, right, might have an infectious sin that needed to be dealt with. And the only way that you can truly deal with this is by shedding their blood, getting rid of the infectious sin. Okay, so there's really 4 reasons that they kill 3,000 kinsmen. 1, can't go unpunished. Number 2, the Israelites had sworn an oath to God, right, and voluntarily placed themselves under the curse of death. Remember the sprinkling of the blood, right? Number 3, without punishment, confusion about there's confusion, right? It's like, is he really serious about this covenant? So this kind of lays down the law, right? Puts the message out there that this is a serious covenant. And then 4, right? I think this act of killing is actually kind of a merciful thing to do, because you're sparing the future people of society from the infectious sin of breaking the covenant. So another interesting episode here, and then we'll talk about the tabernacle, is so Moses goes back up and says, all right, I fixed this golden calf problem. What do I do now? And the Lord says, well, I'm sure as heck I'm not going to go with you to the promised land. I just can't do it. He says that you guys are too unholy, and if I go with you guys, it's going to be too dangerous. And this is kind of a weird thing for us to think about. Like, what? He says it right here. The Lord spoke to Moses, speak to the Israelites, you are a stiff-necked people. Were I to go up in your company, even for a moment, I would destroy you. So this is weird. Like, what does this line mean? Is God saying that he is going to voluntarily destroy them? I don't think so. I think, once again, this goes back to the historical critical method, right? The Israelites understood God to be incredibly holy, incredibly like otherworldly. And so like I think people are afraid of what they don't know, what they don't understand. Like think about aliens. Most aliens in movies are portrayed as dangerous, right? And I think that this Israelite people, they don't know God very well, and so they think of him as pretty dangerous, right? And so their understanding of him is we need to make ourselves holy enough so that we can even be with God, because otherwise something bad is going to happen to us. Holiness can sometimes be dangerous, right? Something that's so holy, maybe it's like causes the worldly things that we have to like be harmed, essentially. So, for example, later on, there's an episode in I can't remember Exodus or Leviticus where these two guys, maybe it's Numbers, two guys are carrying the Ark of the Covenant later on, and one of the guys like trips or something and sneezes, and so he like accidentally touches the ark, and then there's a thunderbolt that comes down from heaven and kills him, which is crazy, right? But this, I think, just helps us understand what the Israelites, how they view God, and God is like this dangerously holy idea that they have. And so that's the whole reason for building the Ark of the Covenant, right? And building the tabernacle, is they need to make something that is capable of holding such a holy God, right? That's the point. Okay, what is the point of making the Ark of the Covenant? It is so that God can dwell with them. They are an unholy people, and they need to make something holy enough to have the holiest thing in the universe, even though God doesn't exist in the universe, dwell with them. Okay, so, and it's important to realize the Israelites are on the move, okay? They're like constantly outrunning other tribes. They are going from oasis to oasis, using up resources. And so they need something that they can carry God with them. So that's why they make the Ark of the Covenant, right? It needs to be to these specific parameters so that it perfectly holds God. So that thing in underline is very important, right? Right there. Okay, God is powerful and holy, and we must treat him as such. Cool. Here's a picture of the tabernacle tent. Right, so this is kind of a zoomed. I should really switch these around here. Okay, here's a picture of, like, let's just say that they moved from one place to another, and they're setting up camp now in somewhere in the desert next to an oasis. And so they would build this little thing every time they moved somewhere. And if you see right there, okay, we've got the Ark of the Covenant, and they take it in. Here, that little thing, the first thing you see is a place where they can make burnt offerings, sacrifices. Okay, and then inside the tent we have all this stuff. We've got some candles, we've got like a veil, right? And then behind the veil is where they place the Ark of the Covenant, right? And the inside of the veil area is called the Holy of Holies. So Anyways, that's